Welcome back to another podcast. Today we are in Indiana at the ATA show, and excuse a little bit of the background noise because we're in the middle of the lobby right now. People are going in and out of the hotel.
Yeah, we're actually in a train station right now.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of a cool hotel. It's set up as an old train station.
Yeah. So if you hear a little choo-choo train run by,
that's why.
Just excuse it.
Yeah.
Or the elevator coming down.
Or people, because everybody's waking up real late and going to the show, and we are set up right next to the elevator.
Yeah. So today we'll just do a little bit of an introduction because we got a couple new guys and new people here.
We got a special guest on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
A celebrity?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Not a celebrity. Appreciate you letting me set in on your guys' show here.
Yeah,
I appreciate all the hospitality this weekend, too. It's been incredible.
It's been a good time. You've had the ins and outs to show us around and stuff, too, so that's been kind of cool.
Yeah, thanks for tagging along.
Yeah. This made the trip worth it. That's what I'm going to say right now. Just you guys hanging out, the fun that we had, the camaraderie.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Definitely made it worth driving down here, but that's about the only thing that made it worth it. We'll get rid of that. We'll get into that a little later.
We'll dive into that real quick. But let's go around the room real quick and just...
Yeah, so Kevin?
Jarrett?
Hannah.
Matt?
Zach?
Cody Jenkins.
Cool. So today we're just going to talk a little bit about our experiences and our thoughts on the ATA show here in Indiana this year in 2023.
Yep.
So this was my first time coming, so it was different for me because it's not like...
You didn't have any expectations,
right?
You know?
And like, I'm going to use Ohio as an example because like at the IX Center, like the hunting and fishing, like
Deer and
outdoor
Turkey
show,
Expo.
There's a lot of vendors and like trying to push the product to everybody there because the general public can come there. Here it's a little bit different. It's more like vendors and media pass people, so it's a lot more low key, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah.
And being able to see some of the new products is pretty cool. And without having somebody reach out to you at every booth like, hey, try my new product or buy this or do this, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like, I mean, because here it's, retailers coming in trying to get your product to sell in their store. So, I mean, they're not really seeking you out. They're kind of just waiting and letting you come to them and talk to them, and you kind of run the conversation. So it's different. It's different, but it's a good different. I understand that like this was a lot busier maybe in the last like few years, but this year was
it was wild.
Yeah,
a couple of years ago.
This year it was pretty low key, honestly. Yeah. But that was almost nice. You weren't bumping into people trying to get somewhere, and people weren't going just crazy for something.
It's from a vendor's perspective, and
talk a little bit more into the mic.
You're good.
From a vendor perspective, and from a buyer's perspective, it might be nice that you weren't like fighting people to try to talk to somebody in a booth. Like you weren't waiting an hour to go talk to somebody. You could kind of just walk up and just say hey, and then it didn't take long to talk to somebody that was important. So
well, not only that, but like you can go up and see the product, get your hands on the product without waiting in line for 15 minutes too, which is very cool.
Yeah, but we also have to remember that this is the ATA, and I'm speaking from experiences in the past. This is my third ATA, and we also have to remember like the ATA is its own separate show. I know you guys that haven't been are used to like the Deer and Turkey Expo and stuff like that, but like I was very disappointed this year. Just very disappointed. Maybe Cody, you can jump on a little bit.
Yeah, the ATA show in the past, like this is where people went all out. Like Realtree that one year, they built a full-size log cabin, 2-story log cabin. And they had their business meetings upstairs, and all their stuff was downstairs. And it looked like you were walking in like a log cabin, like the wood burning stove, and it was set up legit. So like the glam is gone. These companies are coming here. They're understanding that the show is kind of dying, and less companies are showing up every year. You couldn't shoot half the bow manufacturers this year. They're not here.
Yeah.
In the past, every single bow was here. Every single person on social media was like hyping up ATA show.
Yeah.
This, because it was competition to get people to come to your booth because there's 10 bow companies here. Like now there's 5. You can probably hit all those in a couple days, but you kind of had to like pick and choose what bows you wanted to shoot because the lines were so long. And at the bow shooting lines, there's like 3 people, 2 people.
Oh yeah.
When I was walking around, I'm like, you'd have to wait 35 minutes to shoot the new Matthews. Like it's just a lot different. But with human nature, the having to wait for something or other people are excited about something, you're naturally more excited about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you were like, oh, I gotta shoot. Everybody's shooting it, and that's just gone. And then even on the social media side for the companies, they're showing a little bit, but like there'd be 30 live videos from ATA a day. Like, okay, this is our new product. And I think they maybe were doing like 3 or 4 a day on the ATA page.
Yep.
And then very few companies were doing live like broadcast of like the booth or what they had going on.
Yeah.
So it's just a different atmosphere of not as much hype is what I would say.
I agree. It was just,
Yeah.
It felt like a regular show.
yeah, it honestly just felt like a Deer and Turkey Expo or a Northeastern Ohio show. And it just, very disappointed. And even, like, not to knock on Badlands, but even the film festival, in my opinion, was down this year. I mean, they had to take a whole, and this isn't Badlands' fault. Obviously, nobody submitted, but like they had to take a whole category out of the competition. Like the short film, gone because nobody entered. And you know, maybe that's our fault because nobody really participated. But I thought even the selections that they had for the long, full films were not the greatest. There was probably like maybe 5 that were
Up to par.
Well,
and the
so
rest.
they added a couple extra of the the long format. So some of those didn't make the cut.
Yeah, for sure.
And they just threw them back in there. Like these aren't good, really good, but they're decent enough. We want to make the show the same length, the same amount of entertainment. So let's throw these in there.
That's true.
The short films, they kind of did it different. They would do the short films first, then they would do a bunch of giveaways and stuff in the center.
Right.
And this year they stretched everything out to the end. So, and the atmosphere there was like.
And we didn't win anything, so of course,
Yeah.
you know.
The atmosphere there was down like, I mean, you were there a few years ago.
Yeah.
When the slow motion shot's rolling in and it hits the crowd's just like
Everybody's
like screaming. And there was a little bit of that there.
A little bit.
But there wasn't.
Well, we also noticed that there really wasn't that many kill shots on camera.
No,
like
there wasn't.
everything was kind of out of focus or like blurry or like filming from a couple hundred yards away. Like
Which we all film and we understand how hard that is.
But if
when you're putting something in
Yeah.
like one of the biggest
Prestigious.
film festivals there is
for hunting.
for hunting.
Yeah.
And there was some that there was like, it's like an 8-minute video. There's a minute of hunting.
Yeah,
Less
like,
than that.
No joke.
30 seconds, and it was a doe that got shot.
Hey, we're not bashing on anybody. But it's just from prior events.
They're all good films. They're all good storytelling films, but from prior films, they're not as good.
They're not as good, no.
Because there was no hype. Like the story wasn't there. People weren't excited because the atmosphere is 90% of the Badlands Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Like people were going crazy.
Yeah.
People were
Just a bunch of guys being idiots,
Well, and
basically.
even the one guy that was up on stage said that. He's like, we were getting towards the end. He's like, dude, nobody's amped up. He's like, I thought with all you guys boozing, this thing would be rolling.
Yeah.
Like, literally, everybody was just sitting in their seats quiet.
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of like the footage and the films weren't up to par, and I felt like that was kind of like at one point in time I kind of pulled my phone out and was like checking social media just because I had such high expectations going into that I was like, okay, this is gonna blow me away, and it just didn't. And I think maybe that had something to do with it, but that's just my opinion.
I think that was my fault too. Is I'm used to like the amount of production money that these people were spending on films and how epic they were.
Yeah.
They were literally like short, like movies.
Yeah, cinema
like
quality.
Cinema quality movies.
Yeah.
But the same people won. The same people that always won, and their films were good, but they weren't as good. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think like the YouTube scene really took an effect on this? Like, do you think people would rather put their stuff on YouTube now instead of
there is
this?
that other film festival that's cruising around going state to state that had just started. I think the big killer of this was COVID. I think people's like their atmosphere, like this was the party.
Oh,
and I didn't really see any like really hardcore partying. And Louisville and Kentucky, like maybe, or I'm sorry, Indiana, Kentucky. Maybe Kentucky's just a little wilder. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because Kentucky was That's where I had the most fun.
Yeah, Louisville was crazy.
Yeah, that was a lot more fun.
Just the atmosphere was just, but it wasn't just like the after parties or anything like that. It was the actual convention as well. Everybody inside the convention was like, you'd walk by booths and they'd chuck stuff at you, like product, and like I think Scent Locker or Blocker was throwing beers at people, and it's like like that just didn't happen this year.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned when we badged in, I literally walked up, no one in line, scanned my badge, walked in the show. In the past, like you'd be waiting outside to get in.
Yeah, for real, 20 minutes.
Yeah, you'd be like waiting in line to scan your badge and you know how quick that is. It's like a minute.
It took us 30 seconds. Yeah,
you know, and you'd be waiting in line to get in, but
yeah, and you know, this isn't just a bash podcast on ATA. We're just kind of talking about what we think why we think it's suffering. And we're basing it off of past and prior ATAs. I know, like, you guys this is your first one, but for Cody and I, we've been to a few, and it's just, I'm very disappointed. And I don't know if it's just because of the big bow brands not being here, or like, I don't know, maybe COVID, like Cody said.
I even noticed a couple brands like that weren't here. They released their product over this like week of time on social media. Like, why would you not? I mean, other than the expense part of it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Why wouldn't you come here to release your product with everybody else? That was kind of disappointing, I guess.
You know, in my opinion, and maybe we can go around the room and see like what everybody's opinion is, but the only way to make ATA the best show in the industry is if they could figure out how to make a deal with every single dealer or brand or whatever and tell them, do not release your flagship item until ATA. You can release your little gizmos and gadgets or whatever, but like your flagship item every year has to be released at the ATA. Could you imagine the hype that everybody would get? Think of every brand new bow, every brand new camo, like sight, whatever, arrows, everything, brand new, trail camera, cell camera, whatever, the newest and greatest, whatever you think is going to be your best product, release it at ATA. Nobody does that. You know, Matthews releases their bows in November, and like every bow company's got a different release date. It just loses the hype, in my opinion.
If they would do that, you would think that would just, the hype alone would just transfer over to all these companies.
Oh,
and
my
you would
gosh.
think that they'd go nuts for that.
Well, and you think it also
sounds like that's what it was back in the day.
Oh, yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why they don't do it.
Money.
Well, that and a bow company doesn't just drop their bow just because, like, man, I feel like doing it today.
Right.
They've got marketing directors. They've got people doing research. When I drop this bow is when we're going to make the most amount of money based off the time frame and based off of that stuff. So, and I also feel like they'd be afraid that if they all dropped it at one time, there would be saturation and people would just be like,
They would lose the product.
There's no focus on their product. There's just a big explosion of new stuff. So I love the idea, but that's, in my opinion, that's why it will never, ever happen. And you're not going to control a bow company in any way.
Yeah, and this is just
I'm just saying, I agree.
Aloud.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Like, if I had the power, this is what I would do.
Right, exactly.
But I don't have the power.
Because I feel like they did try to do that a few years ago. Like, they did try to push ATA so hard that they did do, and there was like Bowtech dropped a few years ago. Bowtech dropped their bows on, like, all of them at the
PSE.
ATA. PSE did it a little bit, and
remember when the knock-on bow at the PSE booth? You could not move. I didn't even go look at the bow because it was, you could not get in.
Well, PSE brought in like a trailer.
Yeah, semi-trailer.
Yeah, and it was just like bows after bows after bows, and that's when they released the knock-on bow, and it was
in the center of their booth, and you couldn't even get.
You could not even walk near that booth.
Yeah.
This is when I knew that ATA was like really low. I walked by Waddell taking pictures at a booth with people, and there was like 6 people in line to take pictures with him.
Yeah.
I was like, that is weird. Most of the time there's like 60.
Yeah.
You know, maybe everybody's already got a pic with him, but like those booths are like, oh, we got Waddell coming. We're gonna get a lot of people at our booth, to look at the stuff, but.
I believe if COVID didn't happen, this would not be the way that it is.
You think? You guys honestly think that?
I truly believe that. I truly believe that COVID just put a screeching halt on everything.
I think the companies are scared to spend money because they don't know exactly what's going to go on. Because everybody experienced a COVID year where they couldn't get materials, they couldn't get product, they were taking stuff basically out of stock because they couldn't get stuff shipped in from China or wherever.
Yeah.
Stuck on a boat.
Yeah, and stuck on a boat, and now they're like, well, we didn't go to ATA. The 1 year that they didn't go to ATA because of COVID, now they're like dawned on. I'm like,
We did fine.
we
too.
did fine. So
yeah.
why do we need to go back?
Yeah.
And then just like with everything, it kind of gets old. People just been here for so many years. They're like, well, ATA again,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Probably.
for anybody that's listening that hasn't come, I think it's cool to be able to come the first, second time. But from then on out, you kind of know what it's going to be and just expect less because you're going to be.
Yeah.
Because I was on the way down messaging you, and I didn't get excited till like the day before coming down, and then when I got here, I was like, I walked around the whole show and like looked at pretty much everything in an hour and a half yesterday.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, not in depth.
Not
you
in
just
depth.
Yeah, but just
glanced.
I'm
up
just-
and down the aisles.
Yeah, stuff that I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back and look at this. I'm gonna come back and look at this, just so I kind of know what's at the show. But I was trying to find people at the show, and they just weren't there. And then I get out the maps. I'm like, they're not here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Hunter Safety System, not here. That just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Tree Spider, not here.
Yeah.
Like there's no harness companies here. There's like a few at like the GSM booth for Muddy, like just on the shelf as a product that they carry. But there's no like, Tree Spider used to put up like a 60-foot spider hanging from the ceiling.
Yep.
Like
Yep, I remember.
it was just extravagant. It's different.
Yeah. There's
Let's
just-
shift what was going on. What were some highlights for you get different things at the show? Anybody have any highlights from products or anything like that? Anybody got anything? Shift the mood here. a
Well,
little
yeah, I mean, like, the mobile game has definitely changed.
Yeah, talk
like,
about that.
XOP came out with a bunch of new stuff that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So, like, and then Latitude came out with that new stick.
Yeah, the stick that is pretty stinking light.
So, like, my top 3 products would be, and this is just, my opinion. I think that the ham ski tool is crazy cool. I think that the Latitude stick is crazy cool because it's first of its kind. It's all carbon fiber.
It's molded carbon too. It's
And
like
then
injection molded
I
carbon.
think that red line torch bow sight is like for the price point.
Yeah,
If
it's
somebody
smoking.
wants a quality sight for the price, that thing, you cannot beat that thing.
No.
I don't want to say that, because or I should say lawsuit issues, who knows, but it looks very similar to a landslide in my opinion. So if anybody is out there like, I want the benefits of a landslide, but don't want to spend $600 on a landslide, that torch
$299.
is $300 retail, and you get the same quality. I was very impressed.
That booth was packed.
Yeah, the red
every time
line.
I went there,
Yeah.
but it was a new product, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe there's not a lot of new companies coming out creating product
Well,
that's
yeah, it didn't seem like every booth had a new product either.
no.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
They were-
why
some
the
of them
hype
were
is
just
down.
showcasing their previous,
Yeah.
it's just what they had.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Hey, go around. What was Cody? Start. What was your favorite product?
Man, I don't really know for product wise. I dig the new Bino harness from Badlands. They used to have that magnetic flip up, and if anybody runs a Bino harness a lot, I think that every time I drop that magnet, it's loud. It's like tunk. And now they have one that like rolls down, rolls up. So that's eliminated. But really for cool new gizmos and gadgets, I will be saying that I am not going to change hardly anything in my setup because I didn't find anything that was like, oh, I need that.
Yeah.
The sticks, we checked out the sticks yesterday for quite a while. There's flaws to them that I think, and there's, you'd have to make them your own is what I would say.
Yeah.
Mod them a little bit.
But the molded carbon one, that thing's, I'd like to use it for a while, but it's pretty ridiculous.
yeah.
But what was the cost on that? Does anybody remember per stick?
There's two.
$260 for a 3-pack.
260 something maybe.
For a
that's not-
3-pack.
That's not crazy.
And that
with the-
includes the AM steel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
includes AM steel. So for 3 sticks and AM steel, that is a smoking deal for anything.
Yeah, it's
that's
actually
carbon.
pretty cheap, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how. I know like 3D printing. Sometimes that stuff can kind of break or malfunction.
Yeah, I am a little bit worried about the durability.
I just
for a
know how
long
it
time.
attaches to the tree. It's pretty thin, you know. But Mobile setups, like how many times do you use a mobile setup a year? Or it's not something you would want to leave out there in the cold weather constantly, I don't think. It's something that you would want to take
Tear down.
Yeah.
and make sure.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know nothing
Yeah, but I
about
don't know.
it.
No,
We'll
me
see.
neither. Yeah.
Maybe it'll be good. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's crazy is you think that since they had that new product, they'd be posting videos like, this is how it does in the cold. This is how it does with durability. We did this. And then we would know these answers.
Yeah.
But there's nothing really going on where...
Well, we have a buddy that works there, and he kind of was giving us a little bit of more info, and he told us honestly, he said, I'm not even sure that we were going to have this for the ATA. He's like, 2 weeks ago, we weren't sure if we were going to release it. So I think that they just they finally got their ducks in a row and said, all right, we can release it. But yeah, maybe it was a little bit premature on their part.
But a couple years ago, I remember when Hawk came out with that stand and it was like 3 pounds overweight.
Yep,
You
yep.
remember how many people were talking about that and
Yep.
doing videos and
Yep.
stuff? It's crazy. There's nothing like that this year here. But like I said at the beginning, the overall thing of ATA is just people hanging out, chilling.
Yeah.
The Badland Film Festival is like one of my favorite things to go to. Like I said, I think I had high expectations on that, and that's probably that's on me.
Yeah, same.
But the show is great. I set down a lot more at this show than I ever have at any show.
Yeah.
Like any year. I just
Right, yeah.
just kind of sat and chilled. But remember that I said this is the first time I've ever ate like
Yeah,
actually
at the
a show.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, what? I'm like, dude, you
you're like
yeah.
munching on
move-
snacks
you're, like,
before.
moving the whole entire time to get everything in, you know?
Yeah.
Nah, I believe it.
Cromer, favorite product?
Yeah, the Hamsky tool. And it's for...
What is the Hamsey tool? I didn't see that.
So basically, it's hard to explain.
Bow
It's
nerds.
for
It's
bow
for bow
geeks.
nerds.
Okay.
So it basically holds your arrow in place on the shelf, and it has measurements on it, and you can just you can micro adjust how the arrow sits on your rest, and when you're like setting them, especially for
It's for
target
setting up
archery.
a bow,
Yeah,
basically.
it's for bow tuning. And when you set up a bow, especially for target archery, when you're setting up a heavy target arrow on
On a blade.
that will bend, your blade is just sagging, and you actually have no way to set your arrow up square without paper tuning, pretty much. And so that will take the pressure off of the arrow, and then you can set it on the blade exactly the same amount of pressure it would be at full draw.
Yep.
So for me,
That's cool.
it's
So it's gonna
it's innovative.
almost eliminate paper tuning, maybe.
It makes it way. It'll
That'd
make
make it a lot
faster.
easier.
Lot
Yeah.
faster.
It'll make setting up a bow much simpler, and it's going to be better in the long run, I think. And then you can also adjust how much the blade is like sagging from the arrow.
Yep.
It's just, or you could have just barely sitting on the blade. Just my target archery nerd coming out of me, but it's cool. And you can also, it has your center shot built into the top of the tape measure on the tool. So for like every Matthews bow, it's 3/16 or 13/16 for the center shot. So that's already marked out on the tool. So it's just for
Yeah.
setting up a bow, and I do that like 50 times a year. It's gonna be cool. So,
Yeah.
Cromer tried to swindle Hamsky to give him one so hard.
Yeah, you even offered the old
did.
boy $60.
I said, I'll give you some cash.
He said, hey, well, $60, take it home. Old boy said, this is the only one we got. He said, $70.
Yeah, that was funny.
I don't know if I had like a specific product that I liked that stood out to me, but like being able to see like the mobile game setup, like everybody's take on like these new hybrid stands as far as half tree stand, half saddle platform, like that you can use them pretty much for either or, was kind of cool. It seemed like more and more people are doing that, and they started out small originally, and they're getting a little bit bigger platform system now
That's interesting.
compared to what it was.
Yeah.
It's still way smaller than like a traditional hang-on mobile setup, but it's getting bigger,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I thought that was kind of interesting. As much as people are like after weight savings and everything else, that the actual platform is getting bigger, you're kind of going backwards to like a hang-on stand versus this tree saddle with, you know, as big as this laptop to just put your feet on and weight reduction.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was cool seeing all the new products like that stuff too.
Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked being able to get my hands on all the new trophy line stuff, being able to see the new platform and their versatile saddle. I mean,
Yeah.
the weight difference between it and the covert light, and that was cool. But I really liked the us getting to talk to the Velvelot guys. and seeing what else they offer and hearing.
I totally forgot about that.
Hearing
They got
like
some cool
actually
stuff.
how to use it and maybe where we did some things wrong in Kentucky and whatnot. But yeah, it was cool. I've always looked for a good mount cleaner with like a brush, that wouldn't hurt the hair and everything. And I'm excited. I'm definitely
We'll
going to order some.
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so Velvet Lock Technologies, they have sprays for all different kinds of things. So they have a mount cleaner specific for your taxidermy that's done, and it keeps the bugs out, takes the dust off, and they actually give you a brush that's got like a fine, a really soft brush for the hair, and more like it's almost like a metal comb.
Yeah.
But it's not sharp or anything, so it doesn't cut the hair. It just kind of repositions it. I'm really excited to try that.
Yep.
They had really high hopes, and that's not a new release. That's something that they've had here for a few years, I think. So, and then they have the Velvet Antler Lock, which is what we used in Kentucky when I shot my buck, and we were a little skeptical on it, but it worked phenomenally. And they had a buck there that 11 years it had been.
Yeah, it was like a high country muley.
Yeah, it was a big muley, and they had it sprayed 11 years ago with their stuff, and it was like, you can touch it. That was the crazy thing. Once you spray it with this stuff and it cures through the specific time, I mean, you can touch it, and it doesn't do anything to it. It is perfectly cured on your horn. And I mean, that stuff looked like the day that they shot it, honestly.
Ignore the background. The boy was digging through the trash.
Then they've got
They got that turkey stuff.
Yeah, they got the turkey fan. They had a turkey fan that still had meat and.
Yeah, instead of using borax or whatever, they have this new spray that you can spray it on there.
It literally just locks it like in a perfect fan position.
And old boy is like, "Hey, smell this," and shoves it in my face. And honestly, I couldn't smell a thing.
No, it doesn't smell.
And it looks like the day that you just cut the turkey fan off.
I mean, you could still see
Big
the fat
chunk
and
of
the muscle and everything.
Yeah.
It was awesome. So I'm excited just to dive more into that company, and they were very nice.
Yeah.
And we know for sure now that their product works.
Yep. At least the Velvet.
At least the Velvet. Yeah.
We haven't tried the other
only thing
stuff.
that we've used.
Which I feel like that might be the most complex thing that they came out with.
Yeah, because that is such a, I don't know. It's
fragile.
Yeah, it is. It's a fragile thing, and when you
it's like skin, Velvet's like skin. It just peels right off.
Well, and when we have a chance to shoot something like that, they're almost shedding it anyway. So
anything in Velvet is once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So getting that taken care of when you're out in the middle of nowhere is pretty key.
Yeah, do it.
What do people do before that?
A
lot of guys would throw them on ice.
Throw them on ice and head to the taxidermist to start getting stuff taken care of.
You got to get to the taxidermist within a couple days. They inject them.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Or they freeze them somehow.
Yeah, well, I heard you have to put them in the freezer for 3 months, and that'll
do it.
Cure it.
Like freeze dries it.
But then it kind of smells, and this Velvet Lock stuff has a scent in it, and doesn't smell bad, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Not like an axe smell or something,
Old Spice.
Yeah. But it's not a rotten meat smell, which is all you're worried about. So I really liked that stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
You got
Hannah?
You got anything?
Probably the trophy line new saddle. I mean, it's not a new release, but I haven't got to get in it yet.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a game changer from the Covert, which I'm used to. It's a lot lighter and more comfortable.
Yeah, we gotta get our hands on some of those. Those
we
were
do.
My saddle compared to that was like.
It's a big difference.
Wow.
Man. You get a Covert light with your ropes and your straps and everything in it.
Versus just like a nylon parachute material, you know.
And we're talking about that versus carrying around, a stand and stuff. So we're really getting picky now. That's what we're doing.
And the new Mystery Ranch packs were pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah, Mystery Ranch.
Yeah, they were nice too. A lot of new camos. I'm drawing a blank. What's Bill Winky's one called?
Why can we none of us think of that right now?
Something silence.
Is it the code?
Code of silence. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. It didn't blow me away, but it was something that maybe if somebody was hunting late season, I could see it. But
something that's 90% whitetail based.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you're not hunting whitetail, you're probably not gonna wear that.
Yeah. definitely whitetail based. It's like a wool material, like old school kind of camo. It's kind of cool to see that kind of come back.
Like in turkey season, I don't see like.
No,
That's not a turkey season kind of.
You ain't wearing that when it's 70 degrees outside.
It's a definitely a fall. Even the camo is like a fall and
color.
More
the
of a
stuff it's
dull.
made out of. You don't want to be out there in the thorns and stuff like that.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I thought it was cool that they came out with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something different.
It's definitely got a place. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's something
Yeah.
different. You know, if you're a guy that likes to hunt,
Late season
late
food source
season,
guy, man.
yeah.
I think
for
it
sure.
targets a different age group.
Yeah.
You know,
That
that really didn't have that. So
Yeah.
I think it fills a good niche in the market.
I agree with that. It's not like, I don't think it's designed for your mobile hunters, but I think it's designed for those guys that maybe have more of like a manicured property, I think.
Comfort.
Right.
Yeah.
It's designed for comfort.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it looks cozy as hell.
Oh, dude, it looks like it looks like a sleeping bag.
Yeah, you get in there, you'd be like, oh yeah, that probably feels nice, you know. But like,
I'd be snoozing in the old
Yeah.
tree stand.
it ain't gonna work for me when I'm hanging off my third sticks. You know, like it's just not the right material.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. But
Cool.
One
The
thing.
Wise Eye change. Oh,
Go ahead, Hannah.
okay. The changes Wise Eye's making to their cameras is going to be a level changer.
Yeah, look at
Oh,
her just
yeah.
pulling everything
oh,
out.
Hannah's over there just.
She took notes.
You want to touch base on that a little bit?
Do you want to? Don't me to?
I mean, you can if you want.
I mean, they listen to their customers. They're a good customer-focused company. So we talked to the owner, and he said, when you're calling in, you're gonna get one of the owners you're gonna talk to, either his wife, his daughter, him, his brother's wife. You're not gonna get some random voicemail that they're gonna call you back or leave you on hold. They're changing the color of the camera to match more of the northeast.
They said, yeah, like a grayish.
It's gonna be like a
Remember
smoke
that-
gray color.
That log that I seen that I thought was a camera.
Yes.
They had like a log display with something setting on it. I thought it was
It was
a
like
trail
knives.
camera.
Yeah, they were like
I went over there. I
knives.
was like, "Holy crap, this is kind of sweet!"
It's
and
like a tree.
It was like it
It was
was
literally a tree that was like notched out, like somebody notched out a chunk of bark, set it on the table, laid knives on
it
top
looked
of it.
like.
Cody's like, there's a camera.
Oh, that's a camera. I'm like, no, that's not. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that was good. And plus, this isn't. I think this is stuff that Wise Eye's slowly going to be releasing, like here in the next month or two.
She said that
Before next season.
Yeah, before next year's season, they're gonna have everything released.
Yeah.
Yeah, the update's coming soon, which is gonna allow the video feature
On the mini.
on the
Mini,
mini.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could, so with the video mode, once you can see a meter on your account. So once your meter's getting like 3/4 the way full, you could turn off the video feature and set it back to camera mode. So
Yeah.
you're not
So
wasting
they
up
said
your
they're putting a
package.
gas
I didn't even know
So
that.
when you
Yeah.
when you log in, they'll have a gas meter that shows like
You're almost up to
you're
data.
almost
Yeah.
on your pictures. So then if guys are, because videos, it's going to be, I didn't remember the conversion.
It was
they had.
5, 10,
10,
and
15.
15 second.
Yeah. So, and in order for that to transfer to pictures,
Yeah.
so they're like, you can watch your gas meter when you get,
It's all-
3/4
yeah,
full.
yeah.
Shut your videos off and just switch back to pictures to fill out the rest of the time, and hopefully you don't,
That's
Extend
sweet.
that.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, that was sweet.
So we run a lot of Wise Eyes. I don't know if you need to check them out.
Yeah, I've
Cody.
never even heard of that camera.
Like
should, man.
it's a company in Louisiana
Yeah.
and a very small company, like family owned, and the cameras are just like top notch.
They're good.
And they'll work
Top.
with you. If you want something, they'll make it happen for you. As he preaches, he's not a trail camera company. He is a data cam.
Yeah.
So it is all data. It is not just
Yeah,
your
it doesn't
typical
send
trail
you-
camera that's going to be sitting out there.
It doesn't just send you a picture. I mean, it does.
So the reason why I got into them was the database that comes with the camera. It not only does it send you a picture, but it sends you the wind direction during the time of picture, the moon phase, the barometric pressure, temperature, whatever.
It tells you what it is. If it's even a
deer, hog. It
They've
has
got a filtering system where you can choose, like, I only want it to send me pictures of deer,
Yeah.
people.
I wouldn't recommend that
coyotes.
though, because sometimes it
so
gets a
they're
little.
he said they're working on really refining that system.
But what the biggest selling point for me was, like, say you get a target buck that you're hunting, you can click on that picture and like categorize him. I know you were doing that with Kim.
Yep.
You can like categorize that buck,
Kim the Buck.
Kim the buck, and so like every time you get a picture of your target buck, you just plug and play into this little database, and then you can see the trend of where and when he's showing up. So like on north winds, he's not there, but on a west wind, he's always showing up. And it's like, it just, instead of, we used to always jot it down on paper or jot it on our phone. Like, okay, north wind, he's not in there. West wind, he's in there. But now, all you got to do is select the picture, add it to your category of the buck,
and then graph it out.
And they actually set the graph. Like, you can pull up a bar chart or a line chart that shows like the probability of him being there. It's next level.
Yeah,
next level.
And when I mean they'll work with you as customers, they told us a story. One of the owners did that there was an Amish community up in Michigan that they weren't allowed having cell phones, cellular cell phones, so they couldn't get their photos of the deer. So they actually hooked up to their cameras that they would send all the photos to the church printer, and every day the guys would go to the church and pick up their photos with their name on them of whose deer was what.
So they got a big printer that printed out pictures. So they sent it to them, and they set it up to where they set all the cameras up with the person's names. And then when they would get the pictures, they would send them to that printer. It would print out, 60.
There was a guy there early every day looking through all the.
That was just his. Yeah.
They said they know Joe.
He'd pick out the big ones. Like, not
That
for
was
you.
just his job.
He said
Yeah.
they have shifts, people with shifts now. They just divvy out the pictures and guys come in and get their pictures.
Oh my god.
Every day.
What?
Yeah.
This is no joke.
That's
And he-
so funny.
Because, one of the owners, he goes, yeah, they contacted us, and he's like, well, what can I want you guys to be able to do this. So you tell me what you can do, and I'll work on it. And no joke, sent him a printer.
So boy
figured
just
it all
sent
out.
out. Oh my gosh.
This
So
is no joke.
how did they have a Wi-Fi printer set up? That's
Now,
my question.
See, I don't know
It's the
how.
church, man. They're allowed to
They
get away with more.
Yeah. It was a fax number.
Probably actually.
Dial up,
right.
yeah.
Probably was a
It
fax
sounds
number.
like they've
Probably was
done
a
that
fax.
kind of thing twice now, two different states.
That's funny.
Really?
And he's like, man, when if people want to message me and and they've got specific needs that I need to tailor to, he's like, we can talk.
Wow.
And they'll work with guys who have one camera to a guy they have
Yeah,
out
it
west
doesn't-
who has over 400 cameras on his ranch. Like,
Yeah.
they'll work with you
It
and the
doesn't
plan.
matter, man.
I will back that up. I've called them a couple times for customer service, and it's top notch.
And he said they're coming out with a cheaper plan
Oh.
because he knew that was kind of something people were leaning towards. They don't use that many pictures. Maybe
Yeah.
they only have one camera.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, they are coming out with a cheaper plan. So
Cool. So check out Wise Eye,
Yeah,
guys,
for
if you
sure.
haven't checked them out. It's a newer. They've been around for a couple years, but they're just now starting to gain some traction. They're a newer cell camera company, and they are top notch, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yep. Anything else? How long we into this?
Just under 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Go to the show, see if we can find anything new.
Yeah. We'll head to the show.
Yeah, just one thing. Appreciate you guys' hospitality again.
Thanks, man.
absolutely.
I've had you guys on my show. You've been on I've been on your show. But for the people that are listening, these are real people. They're legit. I've been down here a lot of times, and I had really good time with you guys.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate
Top
that.
notch.
Fun too.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
I feel like we've been hanging out for like ever. I feel like I've known you guys.
It's like instant click.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I've been with you guys for 3 years, just chilling, hunting.
Well, hopefully this is the beginning of
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah,
man.
that's sweet.
Yeah, I'm holding you to that Indiana thing.
I'm gonna try and make it,
whether
man.
it's a day, 2 days, or week, you gotta show
We
up.
want to see you.
Yeah.
I'll try to. I'll show up and drag out a booner.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta go.
Hey, that'd be awesome regardless.
Yeah.
Just let me help you drag him out, and
Yeah.
we'll be good.
Cool.
All right.
I think we're good.
Yep.
Good.
I think we're good too.
Send us home, Kevin.
Alrighty. Doesn't matter what you've done in the past, you can always be born again, and born again is out.
Peace.
Bye.